We're live. Hey, man, we're finally back. Episode 35, This Life in Tech. Hey, everybody, I'm Jason.
And I'm Dan, and we're joined here with our guest speaker, Mario.
You already used that one. You can't reuse it.
No, but I didn't do it on air like we just talked about. So,
oh, my God. Wow, man. Between travel, Thanksgiving, being sick.
Well, and Hangouts essentially not working properly for the last 2 times we tried this.
Yeah, like for the better part of a week, Hangouts was broken. I mean, it wasn't just broken for us. There was lots of forum posts on it. I don't know, man. Maybe Ustream's an alternative. I got to figure it out. We got to figure it out. Somebody needs to figure it out. I don't understand how.
This Life in Tech.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think we'd be able to figure it out. I mean, it's not my job, but speaking of jobs, we've kind of had this. I got into a debate with some students, and they were asking about careers in tech and careers specifically in. Man, I think there was just a little earthquake. Did you see that shaking?
Yeah. I was wondering.
No, man, it wasn't me. It was my desk. I think there was a little aftershock. About careers specifically in cybersecurity, and I've noticed over time this seems to be less, or maybe it's just the kids I'm hanging around now in class. But the sexiness of pen testing seems to have worn off. I mean, it was all the rage, and I don't know about you, man, but like when I was coming up in the game, pen testing was the thing. Hiring ethical hackers, that was when that term came out, that was like the new synergy, if you will, the new buzzword. And listen, man, I don't know about you, but I've never hired anybody to do a pen test. I mean, and I've never been interested in doing it as a career. I think for me, compared to something like GRC, who, I mean, we know I'm weird and I know you're weird, but I've always really enjoyed doing GRC work. It's not the only work I like to do, but I think it's fruitful and it's a lot of fun if you do it well. I don't think pen testing has any value at all, like at all. Zero. I don't think it has any fucking value whatsoever, man. What do you think?
So, there is the aspect of probably couches into the aspect of what do we mean by pen testing in this case. So you've got, for those that don't know, black box, which means we give someone no data. They're coming in as if they are truly a actor and trying to get access. So we give them nothing. And they've got to go from nothing to exploitation. That takes the longest amount of time, and it costs the most amount of money. And I don't know any organization that pays for black box testing. You're paying for basically TNM. White box testing, which says, hey, here's everything that we've got. Gray, where we have a certain time period and we give them some information. We're giving you the amount of access that we would give the lowest level employee that has network access, and now go forth and see what you can get within a week, 2 weeks, whatever. Really trying to do, in this case, when we couch it, the parameters run it, I want to know, does my network defense team, knowing that a pen test is going on or not, maybe we don't tell them, is the defenses we put in place working? That is valuable. I wouldn't hire an internal full-time team to do that. That to me just doesn't provide me any value. I'll go get some third party to come in and do that type of work. Developing software, hardware, I would pay for reverse engineering, but I still wouldn't have that area. It would be small because we're talking about a very finite skill. I'm more worried about what are all the protections I have in place and are they effective? GRC aspect,
Yeah, well, I mean, when you take the idea that if you can just handle, let's say 80%, 90% of I don't even want to call it low-hanging fruit, but just common issues, which really are just controls, right? What I guess I've always sat back and wondered, what does a pen test of any kind, that somebody's calling it a pen test, really I mean, what does it prove? In fact, because you and I both know, a lot of these companies, firms, consultancies, whatever you want to call them, really just run a vulnerability scan anyway. And right, I mean, so, but that's vulnerability management. That's not pen testing. That's not the same thing.
I agree. It's as soon as someone starts saying pen testing, I go, tell me your methodology. Because everyone wants to get right to the exploit. Really doesn't matter. Because if you find bug, any vulnerability, eventually it leads to exploit. A matter of time it's going to take. And in my position as a defender, I care about the threat window. Can I remediate the vulnerability, overall impact to the organization? And
right.
People think, oh my, I mean, look, everyone's basically, let's be completely transparent. The amount of people who are actually finding the zero-day exploits is the top 1% of the 1% in industry. And at that point, once it makes it to the next level, then they start crafting and their overall payload. People start seeing that, then they add that to your Metasploits, your core impacts, to where common people in the organization can, oh, look, I can click to own. That's exploitation. You're just copying off of what they do, clicking up, especially for those Metasploit Pro and Core Impact. You're not even crafting actual payload. You're using someone else's.
Right. Well, from a business perspective, for me, it's just way more meaningful to say, look, here's my list of controls. Here's my objectives. Do I have the right stuff in place or not? And for me, especially when we talk about speed, because you and I tend to have the same philosophy about speed and resolving things quickly. I'm much more interested in whatever money I might spend on trying to get some meaningful exploit, right, which is going to be considerable in cost. I'd rather put that money into automation so that I can be fast or faster. To me, that's a much more meaningful expenditure.
Yeah. And the way in which, I don't know how, recently you've looked at like Cisco's overall offering. What they are doing and taking identity and access management and incorporating that into their entire portfolio. Someone get inside because of the analytics they're using and saying this user account tied to this computer account has never done certain things, and all of a sudden you start acting outside of your normal behavior at the switchboard level and you're toast.
Yeah.
So the days of someone coming in with their own computer and plugging in, it's right there. It's just flipping the switch of that malicious insider. It's going to become more and more difficult unless you're doing things that are the course of your job already. Your job is to do database work, and you're Edward Snowden and you copy the database. Well, putting stuff in the database, there's no difference. But if you're a person, YouTube videos, and you try and connect to the database, well, now you're doing something that's completely outside of your Active Directory profile, and Cisco will shut you down if you are utilizing of their product. So me paying for someone to come in and do a pen test today, I got to turn off all of my security for them to do it. That provides me zero value.
Right. And that's kind of what I told these students. I mean, I wouldn't discourage somebody from understanding how that works, for sure. And I wouldn't discourage somebody that thinks they really want to do it as profession. But, I mean, you and I think both have done that kind of work in at least episodes, right? And it's not exciting to me. It's not exciting to me. You're trying to automate and increase efficiency and speed and control, right? And work with things like, Cisco had that Cisco kind of had that footprint when they started their NAC blueprint. being able to
Mhm.
quarantine, and then it was just based on certain parameters like MAC address and shit like that, right? So it doesn't surprise me, especially with the acquisitions they've had in IAM, that now they're kind of building this ecosystem of, and provided you're in their ecosystem, right, that they can do that. And but to me that's a GRC thing, right? To at least define how that works in policy.
Yeah, it's back to the defense. Do you need to know the offensive techniques to be a better defender? Absolutely. But I have never been someone that of software development that I need to know the static and dynamic code analysis tools that are out there in order for us to assure that we've at least closed out all potential deficiencies in that code.
Right.
I know what signatures look like and indications of compromise, or I can build things into my defensive strategy to defend against them. So yes, you need to understand the offensive side in order to be a good defender. But the person as a profession at this point, every person I've seen that comes out of because really companies are using the accounting firms to do their pen testing because it's all done in collaboration and coordination with their audits. If you're a publicly traded company, you're getting an audit. If you're in business, you're still getting an audit. Someone's coming and doing it, and they sell you that service at the same time, and you're like, yeah, sure, let's do it. I can't remember the last time I saw anyone that was performing that type of work that was older than 30.
Yeah. Yeah, it's usually the junior guys coming in, and in my experience, and this is with the big four and small firms too. Like, when you have PCI, you have mandatory annual pen tests.
Yep.
At minimum. Also, pen tests required upon significant architecture changes, right? and the people that did that for us when I was at the big restaurant company, they just ran Foundstone, man. I mean,
this is what's even worse. So I was asking the last one, what are you using? And they're like, Armitage. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's cheating. You're saying I'm going to take every exploit that's out there, throw it up against the wall, see what sticks, and that's what you're vulnerable to. I mean, that is spray and pray methodology. Pen testing. That's clicking the button. I mean, not that Armitage isn't a neat tool. It's like, hey, but that's like your last thing to do. All right, it's Friday. I haven't found anything yet because I've gone through the process. Boom, I need to find something because I have to get paid. So I'm going to throw that up against the wall and go, all right, what did I get? Company that I was a part of the audit, they said they were using Armitage. I said, not allowed to use Armitage. If you can't find anything before Armitage, then as far as I'm concerned, I'm paying you.
Well, right. In my experience, that kind of behavior really results in at least a 60, 70K line item in the billing.
Yeah.
So I understand why people do it. And it's not that Armitage, Metasploit, Nexpose, whatever, man. I mean, I don't have a problem with people using those tools. What I have a problem with is it doesn't provide me any nuanced meaning. And this is part of it too. And I want to talk about this for a second. I've never, the way I kind of came up in the game, I've never been one to think to myself, well, I'm going to hire a consultant to come in and do this work for me. I've always used consultants to come in and train me, right? Or come in and review what I did and tell me where I could do it better, but not to come in and actually do the work and then walk away and then there's a philosophical difference there. And I think where the big four or these small boutique firms make their money off pen tests as opposed to more GRC type work is people are scared that because they don't pen test that somebody's going to penetrate them. And I think that's a myth. I think it's a myth to think that if you don't have some kind of pen testing activity or you don't have ethical hacking on some routine basis, that you're going to have a problem. See, and going back to PCI DSS as a framework of regulation, I've never thought that the requirements in PCI for pen testing really are, it's not about pen testing per se. It's about making sure that you have some type of vulnerability management and reporting system in place, and that you're on top of changes in the architecture. Because although PCI has change management in it, that change management is nothing like SOX 404, and it's just not robust. And I think that's how they figured out how to compensate for it on a technical level. Go ahead.
So this is what, if you go by any of these compliance requirements, you have to change your password every 90 days for your security. A password that I should never have to change unless I believe it's been compromised. They're like, nope, you need to have uppercase, lowercase, number, symbol. That does nothing.
No.
And that they just, it's security theater. That's really what this is. You need to do an annual pen test. Major compromises really occur because someone clicked on a link. You weren't using change detection. Hey, something changed in your environment. That goes back to the control. A change occurred. There was nothing in the change management documentation that came down the path to say, hey, this new system just came online. So that should require investigation. I mean, that's Target. The system is now connected to the network. Why?
Right.
People, theater. The pen test, I know what needs to be done, but how about we were at SSL version 3, TLS 1.0, how are we going to get to TLS 1.2? Can we get rid of NTLM authentication? How about Kerberos? I mean, it's been around since 2005, right? Let's start using industry, recommended protocols that are out there and get rid of all of the applications that should have been retired 10 years ago. I mean, right. Why is Windows XP still have 8% of the market share?
Yeah. When it should be 0. And what's interesting about that is that market share statistic, I don't know if that includes POS systems, because I can promise you POS systems by large and far, I'd be surprised if the majority of those are embedded XP, which was marginally better than full XP because you can customize the pieces in it. So it has less surface area. But, right, it goes back to it. For me,
I don't know.
I don't know if they include it either, man, because it's right. Anyway, but to me, that goes back to a GRC function. What do we say we're doing, and how do we say we do it? And I'd much rather spend money on bringing somebody in to show me how to lead that better, to make that process more efficient. And if I'm on 1.0 and I want to get to 1.2, what's the best way to get there? I think that's good money spent.
This is what's so... The reason why people say I still need to have TLS 1.0 is because they're like, oh, well, there's Windows XP users out there. So I go, hey, guess what? Mozilla and Chrome work on XP, and their version 1.2. You have no excuse.
Right.
0 excuses. It's just because I personally know no one at Explorer as their main browser. Even on Windows users, I don't know anyone. 72 uses Chrome. I don't know anyone that uses Internet Explorer because it's garbage.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a garbage piece of software. Period. I mean, it's not even security problems. It's just a garbage browser.
Yeah, forget it. So anyone saying that, we have to have it for legacy support? No, you really don't. People, organizations have, in my opinion, a responsibility to protect their assets. And just because their customer wants to do something that they're willing to take the risk, making them take the risk for all of your customer base, not just
exactly
a small 8%.
Right, exactly.
If you flip the script and say, hey, 8% of the market and sell a product to, or 92% of the market, which are you going to choose? Go after 92% of the market. So you have to do the same thing. But hey, I've seen splash pages. Get them because of the university that we teach at makes me update Adobe Flash. One computer that uses Adobe Flash on there, and that computer is not the computer is anything other than to teach from, because it's garbage. What, I can't believe that we're using Adobe Flash still today.
Oh man. Yeah.
Adobe Flash, weak protocols. I mean, it's funny. OWASP, so they only do their stuff every 3 years to publish. OWASP top 10, 2010, 2013, 2016. Their top 10 is basically the same thing, they're just in a different order.
Yeah.
We're going to come up with This Life in Tech 2016, and we'll just do a top 10, and next year we'll just change around it. And the top 10 will still be the top 10.
Well, and here's the interesting thing, man. I mean, I just finished teaching a web app secure coding class, and it's OWASP top 10 driven. And I asked the students at the beginning of the quarter and at the end to answer this question, and I mean, whatever, right? There's no rational explanation for this. But when you look at the top 10, it really breaks down to one universal truth. Never, ever trust input from anything. Mm-hmm. From anything. Your own users, your own code, files. I mean, sure as fuck not a user using the software. But, I mean, look. but
input validation.
Yeah, just don't trust the input.
If you're
sanitize it and validate it, and you're done. Yeah. I mean, that's like 8 of the 10 gone. The rest of it after that is just system maintenance and patching and shit like that.
Yep. It's just people don't do it.
People don't do it because there's no market pressure to do it. I mean, why is there 8% Windows XP? Because there's nothing forcing that 8% to change. I'm not saying we shouldn't. I mean, I don't. You know, every time I've set up an environment, both in policy, procedure, and technical infrastructure. No, man, you're on a system we don't approve. Goodbye.
Yeah, deuces.
Yep. Deuces. You're not connecting to the architecture. Bye.
I don't understand it. But that's part of the reason why. You know, I mean, there's still organizations out there that have Windows 2003 servers. Mm-hmm. It's just it's ridiculous at this particular point. I mean, to me, an organization that gets compromised because they have Windows XP clients or Windows 2003 servers is negligent. You know that those things a long time ago. I mean, I hear there's still the organizations have Windows 2000 servers. I mean, didn't even get close to a 4-ringed architecture until 2008 server in 2012, but they still don't really have a 4-ring architecture. Literally asking to get popped.
Well, I think part of it is fear, man, and another part of it too. And this is something interesting. It's not for this podcast; it's for maybe a future one. But it's something I toy with once in a while. And I've seen this firsthand. Some of these legacy systems get kept around because there's data in the system that nobody knows how to. I mean, as much as you can upgrade data, you dig what I'm saying, right? And it's stuck in this old format because there's nothing else that can read it. We generate mountains, petabytes, exabytes of data in proprietary formats that if you're not diligent in, I think, in your GRC, because pen testing won't fucking help you here, maintaining your data architecture.
Yeah, this all comes back down to enterprise architecture. It's a 3-year cycle. If you're not planning for the 3-year cycle, you're screwed. I mean, right. It's a 5-year cycle, but a 3-year plan because it's just a rotating cycle.
Right.
Implemented, you're already looking at the next thing. I mean, John Zachman came up with this concept like in the 1980s when he worked for IBM. This is not new stuff. You know, it's, you know, the place where I'm at, you know, they talk about how they're overworked, projects are late, and I walk around at 5:30 and there's no one there.
Yeah, right.
If you're running late on something, I know you're the same way, but I don't want to turn anything in late. I tell you I'm going to get something here. I'm going to do whatever I have in order to get that. So yeah, I see such a huge difference in culture and organizations everywhere that I've been. It's like, well, we'll get it to you when we get it to you.
Yeah, well, but that's why I've always relied on automation. That's why I've always relied on using the technology to make my life easier, which, I mean, why else do you have it? I mean, if you consider a hammer a piece of technology, which, it is in the classical definition of it, it was better than hitting shit with rocks, right? I mean, it made it easier. It made that quality of life higher.
Yeah.
And so I've always done all my policy and procedure around not only a short cycle. I mean, short, right? In terms of lifetime, 3 years is nothing in a lifetime. And automating as much as I could, as often as I could. And oh my God, the thing that drives me up the wall, man, is when people want to send alerts based on success. Why the fuck would you email me if something worked?
Outside of the firewall.
What's that? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They do that to get you pretty groused. Look at all this shit we stopped. I don't care. That's what the firewall's there for.
You're right. Yeah. Tell me when you're not doing what you're supposed to do. That's what,
right. Well, I want to see when they try to downgrade HTTP 1.1 to 1.0. Should have done that. I want to see that on the inside.
Yeah, man.
So, well, I don't think pen testing as a career, I think, is going by the wayside. You have people that are that do reverse engineering for specific types. Sure, small team, but pen testing, come on, we can automate that. That's what Metasploit Pro is. That's what Core Impact is. If it makes it to there, the script kiddies that are out there are clicking buttons. I'm not interested.
Well, I've never had a profile where I had to worry about that last 5%. I mean, I'm just being honest, right? If I took care of the low-hanging fruit, if that's what you want to call it, I've never thought of it that way. But if I take care of the 85, 90% of what's going to happen, I've reduced my risk down to 5, 10%. Okay, well, now that's much more palatable, right? I mean, I can accept 5 or 10% risk.
Well, I don't know if I can accept 5 to 10% risk, but it comes down to this. I mean, here's your server. How many people actually use Microsoft Security Baseline Analyzer? Use the tools that are there. I go through that and I close out all the things that aren't supposed to be. If this is we'll say this is a web server, is it running anything on there except to serve the function of providing?
Right.
Why is anything else on? There's so many things that you can do to harden that server. Unauthorized access. You've got a workstation. That workstation is providing, I don't know, like in a hotel where you have those convenience computers to clean it up. There's nothing running on that computer. Pretty much locked down, and when you close your session, it wipes everything out nowadays because that's where people used to go. Why is it running anything other than what you need for your job? I mean, whitelisting has been around for, I don't know, Cisco's got it. I mean, it started off really with Tripwire, right? So you got Tripwire, right. Cisco's got it, Palo Alto's got it, Checkpoint's got it, Bit9's got it. Go down this whole path. Bromium, keep on going. Their whole thing is, and only allow the applications that you need to run in your environment to run. Everything else, no permissions.
Right.
Now, you're going to get an alert. Hey, this service has never been here before. Someone's trying to go and install Java version 6 or 7 or whatever. And you know where all my Java 6 and 7s are. You'll know. But people don't look at it that way. I don't want to inconvenience the end user. They only need these applications to do their job. Active Directory is there for a reason. Use it.
Yeah, well, and that's why I think a GRC type perspective is much more beneficial, especially for a career, because you're immediately aligned with the business. You're not an antagonist to it like a pen tester, and that's another thing that I've never been attracted to is this instant adversarialness that everybody else is the enemy and I'm going to attack them. That's not your job, man. Your job is to make the business a better business, and how can you do that if your mindset is to shit on it?
Can't.
Right.
That's just
whereas a GRC person should be looking at efficiency, control, right? And should be looking at it on a periodic basis.
Mm-hmm. You got, I mean, yeah, continuously, all the time, monitoring. So,
yep.
I know we only have a couple minutes left in this show. You know, bring it back to UFC for a moment. I don't know if you saw this. One, Conor McGregor walking around with both of his belts. He's like literally, and he filed for a boxing license in California. I thought was great.
He got it in California. He got denied in Nevada.
Right. He's not. I don't think he'll ever fight in Nevada again unless he cares. But this is what I think is more interesting. Fights, because she can't make weight of 145 pounds in 8 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about February? No. The only reason she can't make weight is because she's on the juice. She has to be on so much juice, not able to cut weight at that point to 145 pounds.
Well, here's what I don't understand. Here's what I don't understand, man. And it definitely applies to fighters, but for me, it applies to every career. If you have an opportunity to seize more power and more money, why are you saying no? How is more power and more money bad? Right? And I'm not talking about fucking over people. I'm just talking about people offering you work, offering you power. Why would you not take it? How could it possibly be bad? There's no way it could be bad.
This puts her in the driver's seat with the largest fighting organization in mixed martial arts today.
Yeah.
And instead, he's saying, you can't cut how much weight in 8 weeks. I mean, most of these fighters start cut at like the 4-week mark. In the beginning of their training cycle, it's right around the 4. Some even wait to 2 weeks because they are so in tune with their nutrition on a constant basis once they start their their fight camp. Cut. I mean, that
well,
just
and here's right, because here's the thing: is if you really medically can't, then you should not be fighting at that weight class. It's too dangerous, man. That's a big reason why people get traumatic brain injury is because of the dehydration associated with weight cutting. It's horrible, man. I mean, I wrestled for a long time and I saw what it does to people, even as young kids. What these people do drop in 2-3 weight classes is ridiculous. It's horrible. And look, right there it is. She's saying she can't do it. Okay, you can no longer fight at this weight class. It's irresponsible to let her, in my opinion.
Right, it is. So, but the other piece of that is doing it because she'll fail the drug test.
Right. Could be, man. 8 weeks is a short cycle depending on what juice you're on. I mean.
Yeah. So, if all of a sudden, because right now, if she were to pop hot for anything, it's an out of competition. As soon as she signs on for a fight, now you're in competition. You're banned for 2 years.
Right. Well, and she was they offered her a fight against Holly Holm at 138.
Yeah, and she said no,
138 pounds, and she said no. And then they said 145, then Holly Holm said no.
Yeah.
But part of it too is, man, you'll never get to the truth because at any point, if anyone at this point believes anything Dana White says, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. I mean, the guy's a promoter. Why? People act shocked that he lies about shit.
Yeah. Nope, there's no way Conor's going to do this. And then Conor McGregor, anything at this point. Anything.
Yeah, you let that genie out of the bottle. You're not telling that guy shit. That's what happens. Go ahead.
I think, Tyron Woodley would probably beat him because he's just too big.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean Conor couldn't outbox him and just stay away. But that's a big. I don't know if you. I'm pretty sure you probably saw the backstage. Two of them. Tyron Woodley is a monster bit in terms of size compared to Conor McGregor. That's a. But I don't think there's anyone that Conor McGregor has the belts in that could beat him today. If there's anyone currently there that could beat him.
Well, wait a minute. Remember, they stripped him of one belt now. They gave it back to Jose Aldo.
No, he's walking around with the belt.
I know he is. But wait, how do you sleep at night knowing that you got knocked out in 13 seconds? Cold, knocked out. And the only reason you have the belt again is because they took it away from the dude and gave it back to you. Shit.
I would like Conor McGregor to buy a ticket to that fight and sit there with his belts.
Yeah.
And go watch Jose Aldo fight and go, I don't know how you can take that belt. The belt's right here. Come take it from me. I dare you.
Yeah. Well, and now he's taking a 10, 12-month break because they're having a kid.
Well, no, not that long. He's saying he'll fight in May.
I don't know, man. I just read at least 10 months. But come on, man. The guy's a fighter. And this is what I mean. That dude understands. Put his shenanigans aside, right? Put his character away that he plays. He understands business. And if you want more power and you want more money, you cannot say no. If somebody's willing to give you more power, if somebody's willing to give you more money, the right answer is yes. Yes, I will do that. Yeah, and that's why he would legitimately fight anybody because he understands power and money.
He never pulled out of a fight. Fights on short notice. He took fights at the last minute because someone else pulled out.
Mm-hmm.
What can you say? The guy just he fought. Mm-hmm. Okay, he went up against Nate Diaz. At 170 pounds. You can say whatever. I believe that Conor won the last fight against Nate Diaz. I thought it was a 3-2. I like the Diaz brothers. I mean, they're the same thing. They'll fight anytime, anywhere. They don't care. They'll fight you in the bar. They would do that also. But, here's the thing. He hasn't lost a championship fight. He's lost one fight in the UFC. That was, again, a last-minute switch. And he's now basically going, I've got both belts. I'm the only person in the history of the UFC and compete at two different weight divisions at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, BJ Penn held multiple weight classes at the same time.
Right. Randy Couture did too.
Yep.
But not at the same time, right?
At the same time.
What are you going to say to the guy, man?
He can do whatever he wants. If he were to walk, he's probably got enough money in the bank right now. He could walk away and still be set for life.
Well,
$30 million in the bank.
Oh yeah, at least, man. And his last 3 pay-per-views outsold all the other pay-per-views combined, or some shit like that. It's massive.
The last 3 times he's fought has each time broken records.
Yes.
So right in between one of his broke his previous record, and then he came back and fought with what's his name that he just destroyed, dead to the UFC at this point now. You talked all that shit. You're supposed to be the best thing out there and perfect fighter to beat Conor McGregor, and you got your ass handed to you. He was dropped 5 times.
Yeah.
Eddie in 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see that press conference, by the way, man? Did you see the press conference where the dude behind Conor McGregor was mouthing off and Conor turned around and said, "Who the fuck is that guy?"
Oh, yeah.
What a kick in the balls, man. To have that guy just completely be like, "I don't even know who you are, dude."
Yeah. Well, it's like, what's his name? Namirov or whatever. He's going, I want to fight. He's say, like, dude, you think you want Conor McGregor? The only thing you really want is that payday, because Nate Diaz has now made more money in that last fight than both him and Nick entire careers.
Yes.
Matter of fact, add everyone in your posse, add Jake, all of them. That fight that Nate Diaz played with the last time, I bet you Nate made more money than everyone in the posse combined in their entire careers.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So,
the only other thing to talk about of note to end that with is 207's the return to Ronda Rousey.
It just broke up. I didn't hear what your question was.
I said the only last thing to say about UFC is UFC 207 coming up soon is the return to Ronda Rousey. Yeah.
I think Ronda wins.
I hope
And
she
the
does,
reason-
because if she loses, man, she might commit seppuku right there in the fucking ring.
Possibly, but here's the reason why I think she wins. Her fights in judo, she's never lost back to back. But at that point, she goes back to her mom, which was one of her basically original coaches. I mean, I think personally, she needs to get rid of her entire training staff. I think they're worthless.
They're pretty bad. They're pretty bad.
If she loses, it's going to be because her coaches aren't telling her the truth of where she really needs to be and bringing in the help. I mean, this is no different in a lot of ways. Tito Ortiz. Tito Ortiz dominated. It became extremely popular, and then the only people he could beat, Forrest Griffin, which a lot of people said he didn't beat that one time. Forrest Griffin beat him on the return. Shamrock, who came from that same style that he did, he's dominated for a while, but he didn't have to evolve.
Right.
Once someone could defend his takedown, like Chuck Liddell, so Holly Holm beat Ronda Rousey because she defended the takedown. If Ronda does not adapt, and she'll lose. I think ultimately, Ronda has done great for women in mixed martial arts by far, but if she doesn't adapt right here, she loses, and then she won't fight again. And it might even be so much so that she won't even have a Hollywood career because she doesn't have that title.
Yeah, well, and there's already been talk of the movies dropping her because she can't act worth a shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, look what Gina
Carano.
When she went out, she was basically going out on top and got a lot of acting. She went out on top. Ronda, if she loses this fight, she's done.
I think so, man.
And so if she doesn't, if she truly has that 1 foot out the door, hey, I'm really only fighting 3 more fights. You're already looking for the next thing. You can't be doing that. I mean, that's just
I wouldn't be going in there and taking punches to the dome.
Nope. Holly didn't feed into Ronda at all. In a lot of ways, what Conor McGregor did to Jose Aldo. Right. His head and made them, and even the last one, Conor McGregor makes you fight his game plan.
Yeah.
Holly did to Ronda. Why would you keep pressing forward? In her corner, that kept telling her, "You're doing good. You're doing good." What fight are you watching? Ronda is running straight into these fighs. Into the hits.
Yeah.
Why is she chasing Holly around the ring? So that's my opinion. I hope Ronda wins. If she doesn't, it's going to be. She's got. I mean, I think her whole training team is horrible.
Yeah.
What's that fuck her name?
Edmund.
Yeah. Fucked her. I can't. I'm like, what are you telling her? And then he's also the same thing for her boyfriend, Travis Brown.
Yeah.
Ass kicked.
Oh man. All right.
Well, that's all we got for today.
So
defensive side and GRC, that's a career. That's for the kids that come out of college to go work and get a little bit of experience and figure out how to use automated tools for testing. And then,
I think you said it right, man. I think GRC is a career, and I think pen testing is a skill.
Yeah, in the security operations where I'm at, it's of their job to determine whether or not the countermeasures being put in place and how it's being designed are functional.
Yep.
It's literally an hour exercise. It's not a 365-day-a-year job on one application. Nope.
I agree. All right, guys, that's episode 35 in the can. I think we'll be doing episode 36 here pretty soon. And yeah, well, we'll see if Hangouts holds up. They can't handle the stash, man. Look at that shit. Oh my god, it's so good, dude.
I know.
When I look in the mirror when I'm brushing my teeth, I want to give myself a hug. It's so sexy.
I think you should get that out to be a handlebar, and you and John Callis can hang out. He's got that handlebar mustache going on.
Yeah, man,
still.
you can grow it that way. We'll see how it works out. I've had one before. Not as big as his, but
even though it's getting a little bit off top of the on this, his Ask Me Anything on Reddit was absolutely hilarious when they said, "What's up with the mustache?" Because if I shaved this off, I would look like a middle-aged lesbian or something like that. That was the absolute. I think I've ever heard coming out of any security person's mouth.
Yeah, that was pretty entertaining, man. Cool.
All right,
maybe we'll get Shadow DSX back on here pretty soon, man. That guy has some explaining to do.
Yeah, he won't. He's scared. He's scared.
I know he is, and that's why I want him back on. I want him to explain why he's so scared to come back on here.
No. Well, anyway.
All right, everybody. See ya. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye.